Okay, good afternoon. It's great, isn't it? Yeah, no, well, welcome to Southend, ladies and gentlemen. Southend Boeing International. Yeah, brilliant, isn't it? It says it on the cover. Hey folks, how we doing? A very warm welcome and good, what we're doing. 9:22, good morning from Seattle, Washington, the beautiful state of Washington. And we are at Paine Field, the Boeing plant, folks. GP, stand by. So, we're at this amazing facility, folks, and if you are in the slightest bit interested in how the aircraft that you see on Big Jet TV at all these amazing airfields around the world, how they all start their life, this is where the Boeings, only one of the part of the facilities that Boeing have in terms of assembly, manufacture, etc, etc. We're going to show you around the facility as much as we can, obviously across the whole expanse of this airfield, and I have to say we are very, very fortunate to be welcomed up here for our free view segment at the Boeing Future of Flight. Now this is a fantastic facility, and I have with me Norm Marr, who's going to be explaining a little bit more about the facility. Good morning, Norm. How you doing, my friend?
Good morning, Cherry. Thank you for coming out to Boeing Future Flight. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mukilteo, Washington, which is just 25 minutes north of Seattle. Here we are at Boeing Future Flight, and Boeing Future Flight is the home to the Boeing Everett factory tour, as Jerry had pointed out. And here at our facility, we have our gallery, which is full of exhibits. We also have our sky deck that you're viewing from, as well as our official Boeing store here. You know, we tell Boeing's story by engaging the public, and we tell Boeing's story through interactive and immersive experiences, and basically talk about innovation, as well as sharing this with our public visitors. So Jerry, back to you.
Yeah, one of the big things that I noticed was obviously is the future of Boeing in terms of its hold on, standby. Okay, that's fine. But the big point that you guys are putting across is the future in terms of emissions and reducing that down, and increasing the efficiency of the aircraft, which you're quite clearly doing here. I have to say, the store that you have downstairs is fantastic. There's a lot of good stuff down there.
Very cool.
And I'm going to be expecting a little bit of discount. Only joking, of course. But no, you do have some great objects down there. That beautiful tail section of the 747.
Yeah.
You've got that fuselage section of the Dreamliner as well, showing the carbon,
Yes.
the makeup of that fuselage, which is really interesting.
Sure.
But what a lot of people, as well as standing up here and being able to see all this amazing facility in front of them, what they're probably going to be most interested in is the tour itself.
Sure,
and
absolutely.
what you offer on the tour, because people actually get to go inside that big facility there. Is it right?
Absolutely. So the Boeing Everett factory, tour here. Basically, we start off by bringing folks here to the Boeing Future of Flight, and it's about an 80-minute tour in which we basically educate and share Boeing's story and the development of the Everett factory that was built in 1967 with the 1968 first rollout of the 747. And of course, through the years, as you're aware, the last 747 flew out of here earlier this year, at the beginning of the year, and that was delivered, and we had a large presence here to view that last takeoff of the iconic Queen of the Skies aircraft, which is beloved. And you mentioned that you have experiences with the 747 as well, and it's such a fantastic aircraft. Of course, currently, with our 767, 777, 777X, families, as well as the 737 MAX line coming
Of course, the
in 2024.
787 as well. Yeah.
The 787 was born here and is
crazy.
now assembled in South Carolina, in our South Carolina facility.
Yeah, people are going to see a number of 787s on the line here. What's the reason that they're here then? Is that just literally for delivery, for final sort of like delivery?
Exactly, yes, correct.
And I've noticed, we'll just show the people the factory, the building that you were mentioning up there earlier on. It's huge, isn't it? It's absolutely massive in terms of its footprint, its square footage. The biggest building in the world in terms of assembly, is that right?
Yes, Jerry, that's correct. The Boeing Everett factory is the largest manufacturing building in the world by volume according to Guinness. It's about 39 hectares, about 98 acres, so it is very large. And as you see, the doors are actually about the size of an American football field, each of those doors that you see there.
It's absolutely insane. And also what you were mentioning earlier is it was only the two nearest us that were first.
That's
is that right?
correct.
And the other ones are add-ons over the years.
That's correct.
With the popularity, I guess, because as soon as the 747 came on stream, that was I guess they needed to build that so quickly because the demand was there.
Absolutely. And so the aircraft was actually being built. The first planes were being built as the factory was being built around it to complete it in those days. So that was something that is noted about those original teams of people that developed and built the 747 were known as the Incredibles. And
really?
You can find out lots of information at Boeing.com about us, and of course with BoeingFutureOfFlight.com, our website here about our facility and the tour itself and how to get tickets. We always tell people, if you're interested in coming to the tour, please get your tickets in advance online because they tend to sell out weeks ahead of the tour dates. So those are something that I'd like to pass on to you all.
Yeah, and so how long do folks get to spend inside the actual facility? I mean, there's a gent here from England that I met outside when I turned up.
Sure.
He's actually with British Airways. He's a student with British Airways, and he was we were generally talking about it, and I was saying that I'd done the tour at AIRBUS in France, and the fact that you kind of want to stand there for about 20 minutes looking at stuff, but do they get a long time to look, or is it?
Well, absolutely. I think what I would say is that once they leave Boeing Future Flight, it's just a short, bus shuttle ride over to the factory, as you can see from where we are in our vantage point here on the sky deck. And so with that, once you get into the facility itself, you go down through the tunnel, and then we take up through an elevator up to the balcony, which overlooks the 777X assembly line, and you see the U line itself, and you can see, of course, inside this massive structure, you can see the jets that we're assembling at any given time, of course, and the requirements within this and the tooling kits and everything it takes to assemble our aircraft.
Wow! So you see all the segments coming together, being moved along the production line. That's incredible. I also heard that some fella told me yesterday that there's apparently a control tower inside the building that controls everything that's going on around it.
So there is a crane system of
Yes.
tracks that run along the ceiling of the factory.
Yes.
In which the certain sections of the aircraft are moved through each section of the aircraft as the aircraft is being assembled,
Yes.
depending on its needs. So absolutely, there's miles of tracks within the facility.
Wow, that's fantastic. And do you mind me asking how much it costs for a tour, for one of the tours?
Well, I can say is that right now on our website, BoeingFutureFlight.com,
Yes.
there is a promotional tour pricing that's happening right now.
Yes.
Again, we try to obviously create this opportunity for visitors to come see the tour. We get visitors from all over the world. As you mentioned, the gentleman who's works for the particular carrier who's here visiting from the UK.
Yep.
We have people from Asia. We have people from Australia, from all over.
Yes.
And, it's always just a great to get aviation enthusiasts here to see what we do.
Yeah, fantastic. And of course, it's a huge amount of history with Boeing in terms of right the way back to the Second World War with the B-17, the Flying Fortress, Super Fortress. Did any of that sort of like go on here, or is this purely post-war with the 747 and the 707 perhaps here?
So actually, as you mentioned, historically, those earlier aircraft, of course, the historic B-17, the 707, those were produced in our Seattle facilities. And of course, now where we are in 1967, when Bill Allen, the CEO of Boeing, spoke with Pan American's Juan Trippe, they determined that they were going to develop and build for Pan Am this first wide-body aircraft. So the 747 was born here and was built throughout its production run. And of course, historically, from the 60s on through now to 2023, nearly to 2024, we've seen various families of aircraft that have been assembled here, as mentioned, of course, including the 767 program, the 777/777X, as well as the 787, which was born here.
And of course, they're still very active with the 767 in terms of the military stuff as well.
Absolutely.
I noticed that you've got a what appears to be a Japanese Air Force, possibly one of the C-46s over there, the KC-46, the refueling aircraft, Boeing 777 freighters. I think we've got that UPS 767, which was supposed to be delivered yesterday. I think that might be going out today. So people say because the 767 is no longer manufactured as a passenger aircraft, it's still a very popular platform for freighters.
Yes, absolutely. It is a freighter aircraft, as well as its military KC-46A Pegasus, for the military. And so those aircraft are also assembled here. And as you see, the delivery center across the way that you pointed out, that's where the aircraft are delivered to our customers.
Yes, absolutely fantastic. Norm, I think we've got as much from you as we could. We really appreciate your time, and we'll spend a couple of hours up here. And thank you very much indeed. Of course, everybody, when they come on the tour, they get to come up here as well and enjoy all the facilities up on top of the sky deck.
Yeah, absolutely, Jerry. And thank you so much for having me at the sky deck here. Of course, you can see the Boeing Everett factory, the active Seattle Paine International Airport, as well as the North Cascades mountain range. On clear days, you can see Mount Rainier to the south, and you can see Mount Baker to the north, and those are part of the Cascades Mountains, which are actually active volcanoes. And so once you get to the Pacific Northwest, here in Everett, our state is a beautiful place to visit. And of course, here at Boeing Future Flight in Mukilteo, we look forward to everyone coming up and visiting us to take the Boeing Everett factory tour. Thank you very much for your time today.
Just one last thing, Norm.
Yes.
One last thing. You've got a railroad that comes straight into here, isn't it? Tell us about the significance of that. And
so when this factory was built, Jerry, the rail system was very integral into the development and the design of this factory, because they could transport parts via rail. There's also a freeway or a highway system to the east of us, which runs north and south through Canada to the Oregon border, and of course down to California and beyond. So with the highway system here, as well as the rail system, it allowed Boeing to utilize the infrastructure of the area to transport fuselage and parts and things that were necessary to help assemble our aircraft here.
Yeah, so which is the reason why you don't get to see the Dreamlifter in here very much.
Well, the Dreamlifter does come in 3 times a month for
Oh,
deliveries. It does deliver parts for the aircraft assembled here, and it does come in. So it's a really exciting to see it come in, arrive, and depart.
Yeah,
so I almost always have my phone ready just to capture
Oh,
photos.
Norm, are
and
we going to
videos
miss
of
it? Are we going to miss it?
Well, it's a good chance anytime you come here to see it. I don't actually have the schedule, but the last couple of times I've been here over the last month or so, I've seen it come in at least a couple of times.
Well, we'll just have to cross our fingers. Norm, thank you so much, my friend.
Jerry.
And I'll see you soon.
It's a pleasure. Cheers. Thank you
care,
very
sir.
much.
Thank you. Everyone says thank you, by the way.
Cheers. Thank you.
Okay, there you go, folks. Norm Marr, and you will have seen his title on the screen there. So yes, here we are. We are We are here at this incredible facility. Now, like we do when we go down to Toulouse, which I regularly go down there with my members, we get to see. It is literally a bit of a fishing trip. Yesterday we had that Qatar 787, which, believe it or not, is 3 years old. But that's all down to delivery schedules and timing and delays and that kind of thing, which happens with any aircraft manufacturer, folks. It is just the way of manufacturing. Happens with car manufacturers as well. You know, some cars you have to wait 2 or 3 years for to have them delivered. But yes, like Norm was saying, that's the delivery centre, which is like what we see down in France. But of course, this is all Boeing. Now, there's a few people here who are probably wondering what all these 777-9s, I like to call them 9s, just to sort of like go back on what we were talking about with regards to the delivery of parts. As you can see there, it's quite active down there. 737 MAX fuselage coming in from. Is it Kansas, I think? But what is really interesting, folks, if you look on Google Earth, you'll be able to see it from above. But way over there, in behind the trees, is the you can just about see the tail sticking up there of what appears to be a 777. We saw it yesterday. And it is the most incredible thing. I don't know if you can see, but the wing is a stress test. They basically stress and test these wings, well, for new aircraft. Not every wing that is every aircraft that is built goes in through this stress test procedure. This is only for new aircraft. So that aircraft is in that rig there, and it is a stress test facility, which is completely amazing to see it in the flesh here. That's the sort of thing that is mainly behind closed doors, but that's the far, I think that's the northern sector of the airfield. You've got your delivery centre down here, which is full of containers with all different components and parts and so on and so forth. A lot of this stuff coming from Spirit Aero, which Boeing work very closely with as a third-party manufacturer. In fact, Airbus also have an interest with Spirit Aero. Excuse me, one second. Airbus also have an interest with Spirit Aero with their A350 and A220 fuselage sections as well. But you can see quite a lot going on, and you can poke your that's the back end, what looks like probably the back end of a 737 MAX, I would imagine. So it goes through those checks and facilities, and then that gets moved off, I'm guessing, into the factory itself, into the assembly lines that you see through and into there. These 777-9s that you're seeing here that are parked up, they're basically using every part of the every available part of the airfield whilst this aircraft goes through its certification procedures. She's not yet certified to operate as a passenger aircraft. She has flown, of course. I think I'm not sure if this is the most number of hours flown by a non-certified commercial jet ever. Of course, we had the A380 way back in 20. Was it? I think the height of the Airbus A380 was around about 2013, which is around about the time that the 777X was conceived, I think. Maybe a little bit later than that. But there you can see KC-46 tanker aircraft. That's an air-to-air refueler, which is going to be replacing the KC-135 aircraft, which look more like a 707. I know People say that they're not based on the 707, but as far as I'm concerned, being an old school aviationist and having started my life of aviation with the 707, DC-8s, all that kind of stuff, it looks very similar to it. But these huge, massive, great big doors here, of course still sporting the 747, but it is incredible to think that one of those doors is the size of a football pitch. So you can imagine how big that whole facility is. And then we come across here, and now we start to see aircraft that are either in their pre-delivery state. That's nice to see, isn't it? That demonstrator there, eco demonstrator, which is quite interesting. A lot of people are going to be probably talking about that, I'd imagine. Okay, of course, this is an active airfield in terms of the airport itself, and bringing in sort of like domestic jets. Alaskan is, I think, the most active here. Of course, we do also have, and I'll swing up to it in a little bit, folks, but there's quite a lot of stuff to look at here that I just want to run you past. These big buildings that you see on the right there, those big blue doors. In fact, interestingly enough, there's those doors on the far end. I hope they are being opened to hopefully roll an aircraft out from the paint shops. That's the paint shops right there. Believe it or not, that front end that you see down there is a paint test bed for testing paint. Believe it or not. So I'll keep an eye on those doors for you to make sure we don't miss anything. I don't know if the doors are either opening or closing there, but look how big they are. And this line that we see along here, all Nippon, Dreamliners, all Dreamliners mainly on this line up. Down here, Korean Airlines, which we saw moving into that position. Also, these, if you go onto Google Earth and have a look overhead, you'll see how vast this area is. It looks very congested over there, but believe me, it's not as congested as one would think. I believe, and we're led to believe, that 777-9 that's sitting over there is one of the Emirates jets that's soon to be, well, not soon to be, that is slated for delivery to Emirates. Of course, you have Qatar, I think, Qatar, Emirates, British Airways, Lufthansa, and interestingly enough, those guys are working on the APU. See, that's something that we don't see very often when we're looking at looking at the airport stuff, because that kind of stuff happens behind closed doors, inside hangars, but these guys do a lot of the sort of like ground maintenance and changes and switches out on the ground or outside of the facilities, because from what I can see, once the aircraft rolls out of the production line, that's it, it's done. It'll make its way over to the paint shop at some point, but it is allotted normally its own stand area here, and each stand has its own sort of like hut, which obviously has all the paperwork inside, as well as all the guys and girls who work on the aircraft, and of course all the sort of like changes and tweaks that need to be made, either inside the cabin or to the engines or anywhere else. They generally will carry out those procedures on those remote stand areas there. So as we pan across to the right there, there's an empty stand that's coming up on the right there. Hopefully we might see one coming out of those sheds, and that's where that one, we don't know what it is, of course. There's an Air Europa Dreamliner sitting over there, which is quite interesting. Looks like it's It's going through, it's having something done to the flight deck window, the windshield by the looks of it. Another all Nippon Dreamliner with its engine cowls up. Of course, these aircraft still need to, if they're not being delivered yet, they still need to go through flight tests and checks to keep them active. You know, it's a bit like sitting on a couch for 2 weeks. When you get up, you're going to be all stiff, and you need to move your arms around. Well, who sits on the couch for 2 weeks? A couple of hours then. Your arms are going to get stiff, your legs are going to get stiff, your knees are going to get stiff. So therefore you need to sort of like, stretch your arms and do some exercises, and that's basically the kind of thing that they did yesterday with that Qatar jet. Whether it's out of a request from the client, we don't know, but it's quite interesting to understand all the different parameters that we're talking about. With these jets that are destined for everywhere around the world, and again, as you can see, aircraft that are sitting engineless at this point, the 777-9s, because led to believe, at least yesterday, somebody saying that apparently General Electric are starting the work on their on the GE9X engine. So, like I say, I think that the possibly the white painted jets are primarily for. This is a scheduled service, folks. This is not a. We had the 737 delivered yesterday, didn't we? WestJet. We had a 737 MAX delivered yesterday to WestJet. And then right up. Of course, the far end of the airfield again. See those temporary coverings there. Well, they look temporary, but they've probably been sitting there for a while. But because they don't have any available hangars per se, they will carry out work. You can just about see the back end of that Southwest MAX that's sitting at the one on the left there, and then of course parked up again. More 777-9s. Not so much. I mean, they are obviously waiting for their engines, but what they're really waiting for is certification, and then Boeing can really get moving on delivering these jets in around about 2025. They reckon. I believe that Emirates are going to be testing the aircraft at in Dubai, which is quite interesting. There's FedEx 767 freighter. Again, like I said, yes, that is a beautiful Ameristar DC-9 sitting there on its own today. There were 2 of them there yesterday. Does it mean that there's another one? We don't know whether there's another one going out or what. But hopefully we might see that UPS 767 delivered at some point today. Another KC-46. 777 freighter off there in the background there. Another 777 freighter, I think. MSC, that's that 777 was supposed to be delivered yesterday. Atlas Air, I think that the I think it's MSC who are running the aircraft, but Atlas Air are, or it's an Atlas Air jet, but it's in the MSC livery, because they're obviously leasing it maybe from Atlas Air. I'm not sure. Another 777-9 in the foreground there. See those big folding wing tips. A lot of folks who are watching right now are probably wondering, you know, what is it with the folding wing tip? Well, the reason for that is so that it's very clever, in fact, that Boeing continuing with the raked style wingtip, because it's an all new carbon wing on the Boeing 777-9, and because it's a lot longer when it's fully extended, it means that it wouldn't fit at the gates at your average international airport. So they have developed a folding wingtip, which means that they can fold those wingtips up vertically, and it will fit anywhere. The normal 777-300 will fit as well. Aerologic 777, what are they doing on that tail there? Is that, some small adjustments, I think. Is that Paine? John O'Roscombe, looking forward to seeing the 777-9 in action. Yes, I think we all are. Certainly when the aircraft is certified, there's going to be a massive rush, isn't there, to get these aircraft into passenger service and deliver them to the customers, because obviously they're not making them any money at the moment with them sat out there on the airfield. That's a 777 freighter again. Seems that is the freighter line down there. Mostly all freighters. These are customer passenger jets. That's like we talked about earlier. Japan KC-146. From time to time, you see these fueling trucks, the Bowsers, moving around the airfield, and we just follow them to see where they go. Trevor Wood seriously homesick from 10 years ago. Well, there you go. Oh, he used to work here, did he? Oh, he used to work on the Dreamliner. Wow, Trevor. Fantastic. What a thing to have done. Trevan, is it? Sorry, Trevan. Trevan, sorry, Trevan. Sorry, not Trevor. See, sorry, Trevor. Karina Roebuck, Screaming Emu. ES, there is crossover with MSC with ships and aircraft in Virgin Atlantic and Virgin Voyages. Yeah, certainly more so with MSC, because they obviously have their huge container ships, MSC, and I think the cargo, the air freight cargo division of MSC grew from the pandemic, I believe. I think I might be right there, I don't know. Yeah, KC-46, not 146, of course. Aidan Campbell, local economy, Everett and Snohomish County is heavily affected by Boeing's performance, with layoffs and strikes causing downturns in other industries. Yeah, it's always going to happen, isn't it? Another. It's obviously very popular, the bus tours, isn't it? Wesley Cooper, any other thoughts of heading to BFI for a bit of action? Wesley, good news. We have been in touch with Cameron down at BFI, and it looks like we may well be doing something tomorrow down at Boeing Field. Certainly at the museum, which is fascinating. It's got some amazing exhibits down there. Go and check that out if you want. So yes, we're hoping that we might get some action down at BFI tomorrow. Of course, lots of activity down there in terms of the MAX deliveries. Not so much activity here today. We had 2 Dreamliners delivered yesterday, one with Gulf Air and the other with Vistara, and we had the WestJet MAX that was delivered here as well, and of course that Qatar jet that was on test, and the DC-9, which you would have seen on. If you want to see that thing, make sure you crank it up when you play it out of whatever you play it out of. Dylan Smith, it's an N-Reg, that's US Air Force. Where are we talking about? It's 2 actually. Japan KC-46s there. There's another one there as well. Like I say, it always looks very congested, but okay. So somebody's saying that's it. Yeah, indicating it's US. Maurice Ferguson, Transavia should be celebrating their first receiving of their new Airbus A321neo out of Hamburg factory at December 2023 due to damage on the aircraft. This is delayed for a certain amount. Yeah, I wonder what happened to that. It must have been obviously during taxi or something like that. Did maybe one of the ground vehicles collide with it? I don't know. Carl Hanlon, the HF antennae is mounted in that area, base of the forward tail. Yes, Carl, actually the leading edge of these tails that you see there is actually the HF aerial that's contained in the leading edge of the tail, which is why it's very rarely well actually I don't think it's ever painted over. I think it's always, let's just have a look at that one side on there. You can see the silver leading edge strip on the tail, the vertical stabilizer. That's a test reg. Yeah, that there you go. Boeing still own that aircraft, according to Screaming Emu. Thank you. So it is just a test reg, basically, like you see on when you see a car that's being driven on the road that doesn't have any number plates on it. It will always have trade plates on it. So that's literally like a trade plate that you're seeing on that aircraft there. Amazing. I don't know if you saw the walkthrough at the Paris Air Show that I did inside one of the halls. The guys who actually manufacture that tilting wingtip, showing all the different components that are used to operate that wingtip. It's almost the best way to describe it is a mechanism. The locking mechanism is almost like a cargo door. They extend and fold up very, very quickly. It's not a slow process. Certainly a lot quicker than a cargo door, put it that way. Retro tank propeller. Oh yeah, the tankers here. I have no doubt that we will probably see one at some point, but they've got a fantastic livery on the tankers here, the Boeing tankers. Scott Amos per MSC July 2023 press release. Let's just have a look at what Scott Amos has said there. Sorry, I'm miles behind on the chat, folks. Everett's okay. Nikhil, Joe Spitfire. Joe, do you think they'll build a 777-9 freighter? Joe Spitfire, well, yeah. I mean, the plan is to build the 777 freighter, I think it is, as far as I'm aware. They haven't built any 777-8 platform yet, because obviously they need to get this get the big one out of the way first. This is interesting. So as far as I'm aware, the 777-8 platform will be the freighter variant of the 777-9, if you see what I mean. Thank you, John Grinner. Thank you, everybody. Hope you're doing well. We've got some gifted memberships coming in. Hearn Hunter has gifted a membership. Thank you, Hearn. Very kind of you indeed. Maurice, Caleb still has to be receiving some Boeing 787. 5 for aircraft, he believes. That will be the Boeing 787-10. In the first instance, they should be replacing the Airbus A330s, the 200 and the 300 fleet. Now, we saw this guy yesterday operating on the FedEx freighter, doing something on the wing there. Luckily today we're a little bit higher up, so we can sort of like have a little bit of a nosy. We didn't know whether it was wing or horizontal stabilizer related. Still got the leading edge slats extended and the speed brakes up on that jet, so we'll have to see what transpires with that. Again, like I said, we were hoping that UPS 767 was going to be delivered yesterday. It didn't go out. I don't know if that Atlas Air / MSC aircraft is due for delivery today. So he's gone around the corner there, hasn't he? Oh, they're shutting the doors, aren't they? Maybe he's coming out there. I don't know where he's going with that. Andy P. Parish, HGC, travelling on Denise Brennan. Early Birdie DC9 was cool. Scott Amos, Atlas will take delivery of 4 Boeing 777-200 freighters by Q4 2023, which it will operate on behalf of its customer, MSC. Okay. So it's going to be operated by Atlas Air on behalf of MSC. I'm a little bit confused there why then in that case. It would be the other way round if it was. But anyway, thank you for that, Scott Amos. As part of a previously announced long-term ACMI aircraft crew maintenance and insurance agreement, that's an ACMI agreement between Atlas Air and MSC. Of course, Atlas Air have more knowledge and more experience in the air freight model than MSC, I would imagine, whereas MSC have those humongous, great big container ships that you see out there on the oceans. Incredible things, man. 16,000 containers on a ship or something. It's just like the numbers are just incredible. And also, what if you look at the history of the freighter ships, those big container ships or freighter ships. Look at the first ones and then look at the size of them now. It is absolutely incredible. They have gotten so big that obviously, you know, they have to dredge the bottom of the harbours and stuff like that, where we've seen them at Boston, haven't we? Crazy thing. Andy M stayed at East Midlands Airport last night. Have you been before? Yes, we have, Andy. A couple of times we did an all-nighter. We pulled an all-nighter at East Midlands one time. Kicks off around about 6 o'clock in the evening normally. Lloyd Bell. Okay, David Cannon. it will be a test reg on the KC-46. The orders for the 777 should be large. Yeah, Jorge. Yeah, once they've got the thing certified, I think it's the FAA, isn't it? The US arm of the Federal Aviation Authority. Show you guys once again this. Crazy to see these things coming in on the railroads. Early birdie, I also would like to see a clip of that deployed rat. Yes, yesterday, folks, we had that Qatar Dreamliner that went out on test, and they deployed the rat, which is the ram air turbine, which is a propeller, which they drop out of the aircraft on an arm, and it is literally, it's probably about a metre in length, maybe a little bit more, maybe 1200, something like that, from tip to tip. And it when that propeller rotates, that then is it charges or creates electrical feed for the electrical systems in an emergency. In the case of if they were to lose power on the from the generators from the engines. Generally, it's when you get when you lose engine power, so that the aircraft can still operate with its electrical systems, because obviously the engines drive electrical power, electrical feed, as well as the hydraulics, etc., etc. But yeah, they were testing the rat yesterday, something that we've seen a number of times at Toulouse, but quite interesting to see a 787 Dreamliner come past us, and it should sound like a set of Rolls-Royce Trent 1000s or Gen X engines, whichever they might be, and yet it sounded like a Cessna, which was kind of crazy. Michael Lashuk done the Boeing tour twice. Really interesting. No pictures or video. Well, that's quite understandable, really, isn't it? Neat to see the 747, 777, 787 and 767 production line. Wow. There's Joe Spitfire asking about the 777-9 freighter. There will be a 777, like I say, a variant of the 777-9, which is going to be the 8 freighter, because obviously, much like with I think I'm right in saying that the 777-9 is to counteract the competition, which is pretty standard procedure for most new operators, of the 350-1000, and of course the with the 350 there is of course the 900 and the 1000 variant. Boeing starting out with the 777-9, and then they will be offering the 777-8 as an alternative as well. I think the 777-8 is going to be about the length of a 777-300 as it is at the moment, and of course the 777-9 is a couple of meters longer or something like that. I think it's got an extra 2 rows of seats or something like that compared to the 777-300. Wow, Aidan Campbell, 2022 Washington's GDP reached 577 billion, representing an increase of 3.6% from 2021. Washington's GDP, gross domestic product, that is, has grown at an annualized rate of 1.6% over the 5 years to 2022. Fair play, that's good. At what stage is a number assigned to the plane like the one we saw on the tail? Paresh asking. Once the aircraft has been assigned, its new owner, I'm guessing. That's when they assign a registration, a bit like a new car, like I say. David Sheffield. Good morning, AGPX. Beverly George, Rap, Luke Reynolds, Eva Air have ordered 18 A350-1000 to replace their older 777-300s, but still active with the 787, which is good. Of course, of course, the pandemic didn't help anybody, did it? All businesses, manufacturing or otherwise, were affected by the pandemic. Unfortunately, folks, like I said, the nothing coming out of that paint shed at the moment. Anyway, early birdie, do they rotate those N numbers for the airplane tests? They'll rotate them for the aircraft. The regs, the test regs, will remain with the aircraft throughout its build, and then once that's completed and the customer registration has been assigned, that will then be removed and go on to another aircraft. So that reg there that you see has probably done quite a few rounds, I'd imagine, as have all the test regs. They're not unique to the aircraft in terms of a one-off usage. It will be, of course, used on multiple aircraft. I think maybe aircraft type, maybe it might be 767s only for that reg. I don't know, but interesting to note that I mentioned yesterday was you can see the blue on the horizontal stabilizer there, the mounting point there, along with that tiny little piece of the vertical stabilizer leading edge there. Being as that's blue, I think there's a chance that might be destined for Lufthansa, that jet, but I might be wrong. So we're looking at around about 2025, I think, for the first 777-9 commercial jetliner to be introduced. Supposed to be Lufthansa as the launch customer. Lufthansa is supposed to be the launch customer for the 777-9. You can see just through there the counterweight. See the big yellow weight hanging off the engine there. That is to simulate the weight of the engine. Around about, what did we say it was? Around about 8 tons, Jilly, something like that. Saw them hanging one of those yesterday. I can smell paint. Does that mean that they might be spraying one of those in one of the sheds over there? The wind is definitely carrying over in this direction, so I keep getting a waft of spray paint. Now, I think that Boeing still holds the record for the largest, at least this facility here holds the record for the largest assembly facility in the world, as far as I'm aware. Karina Roebuck still waiting on several Maxes for Southwest. There's a bucket load of Southwest 737 Maxes parked up at the other end of the airfield over there, and there are a few down at Boeing Field as well. So we're hopefully going to get ourselves down there tomorrow. Yes, indeed, there will be a 777-8 passenger variant as well, like I said, but the freighter will be based, I think, on the 8, which is interesting because I was always under the impression when Airbus announced that they were going ahead with an A350 freighter variant, I was under the impression that it would be the much like with the 777-200 being the freighter of choice on the 777 line. I always thought that the shorter aircraft, like the A350-900, would be the aircraft of choice for the freight platform. But apparently, I think, as far as I'm aware, it's going to be the A350-1000. I think they've already started receiving orders for that platform, and I think it's still going through its certification phases. I think the A350 freighter. Maurice Vergusen, interesting to see they're almost finished aircraft to be ready for delivery soon. What's interesting, Maurice, is that, like I said, and as I was told yesterday, that a number of these jets that you see on the customer line here are actually a good couple, 2 to 3 years old already, just because of obviously the delays that Boeing had due to the pandemic, other technical issues that needed fixing, and of course I have to think of customer aircraft that are already delivered as well, the fixes on those. So yeah, like with any new model or new aircraft, there's always snags and things that need to be dealt with. But yeah, these are aircraft that are slated for delivery. Most of the aircraft that we see here on the front line here are most of them actually seem to have engine. There's a lot more going on with the EVA Airjet today than there was yesterday. All those access doors being so that's got to be a cabin related thing going on there, I'd imagine. Rohit Parker, I got my grasshopper joke 2 hours after the stream had ended. Must have been on his mind, eh? Maurice Vergusen, Boeing has announced to bring out a complete new redesigned Boeing 747. Where do you hear that, Maurice? There's all sorts of crazy things going around online at the moment. They're not going to bring out another 747, I can assure you. You know, you might have heard it from a YouTuber or something that's sort of like, you know, saying it's a possibility that they might be doing it, but I think you'll find that unless you hear it from the horse's mouth, literally, don't believe a lot of the stuff that you hear about. One that we heard the other day was that the 727 and the 707 were due to be relaunched. It's not going to happen. Aidan Campbell, glad they're still building the 767 freighters. Yeah, it's a great platform, a very popular platform, the 767. Trevin Wood, crazy that the 787 line moved. Guess If I was still with Boeing, I'd live in South Carolina. Yes. Interesting. So as far as I know, and I wonder if Trevin can confirm this, but as far as I know, once the aircraft are wheeled out of the factory, literally the assembly line, once they're out of there and free of their shackles, they will then make their way to the, I'm guessing, to the paint sheds pretty quick by the looks of it, because I don't see any 787s in their primer state around here. I'd imagine, yeah, I can smell that paint again. They're definitely painting something in there. Once they're out of there and they moved to their allotted stand, that's where they will stay for the period right the way through to when they're delivered. So, am I right in saying that, Trevor? Oh, interesting. Trevor, that would be handy if you could email us at contact@bigjet.tv and see how we get on about the spot at Trevin. About the spot at SeaTac that you mentioned there, Trevin. Thank you. If you could email us, that would be great. Check of flags required on construction vehicles by FAA advisory. Circular 150 blah 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 blah. Regulation size is 36 by 36 inches. Nick Gray, thank you. Declan Donan, didn't a few fuselages fall off a train a while back? You're right, mate, they did. I remember seeing that on online, that picture. I mean, what happened to them? You wouldn't be able to reuse those, would you? Surely you wouldn't. Because they literally rolled down the bank, didn't they? I don't know if it was as a result of a derailment, or if it was just badly attached, anchored fuselages onto the train, the bed itself. But yeah, it wasn't. It was a terrible. It was like a big pile of logs all down the bottom of the bank, you know, on the lake, you know, or on the water. On the water's edge. It was crazy, man. Can you imagine that? Hello, Boeing. Yeah, sorry, got a bit of bad news for you. Oh yeah, what's that? We had a bit of an accident. Yeah. What happened? Train derailed and a load of fuselages fell off the thing. What's that? Train derailed and loads of fuselages fell off the bank. Anyway, I've got to go. Bye. I think the Boeing 747 line has already been disassembled and reassigned to the 777-9, hasn't it? Claire Bear, the Qatar Dreamliner, did take off from here yesterday. Looks like it's going to be a bit of a slow day today, I think is the best way to describe it. Jan Kakcho has gifted a membership. Thank you, Jan. That's very kind of you. Yes, thank you. If electrical power from the engines is lost, would the APU be the first backup and the RAT the second backup? Well, Bob, not sure. I think Screaming Emu might be the one to answer, or any of the other pilots who are on board. But are you able to start the APU in flight? Is that something that's possible? I think you might. So don't see any reason why you wouldn't be able to. But obviously, yeah. Because of course the auxiliary power unit is what is used on the ground when the aircraft is is when the engines are off, the APU powers the aircraft electrically, and of course once the number 1 or number 2 engine, whichever, is started, then that takes over the APU. Of course, the APU delivers pressurized air for the air starters, and also electrical power for the electrical systems as well. Mike, looks warm there. James Dayton, thanks James. He's gifted 10 memberships. That's very kind of you, James. Korean 777 over the top, 363. Wow, what was that I just saw? 363 777X orders. Is that somebody saying? Have I missed that? Sorry folks, I think I need to go right to the bottom of the comments tonight, because then I can see what's going on. My apologies if I missed your comments. Screaming Emu, 6 weeks training Arrow, Maurice Busu. At YouTube, there's a lot of speculation going on about news. It's no new Boeing 747, please. It's just YouTubers trying to sort of like, you know, get likes and views and stuff like that. There's nothing going on with the jumbo jet, folks. It's gone, it's over, it's history, I can assure you. Steph, why would you want to start the APU in flight? Indeed, why would you want to start the APU in flight? I'm just asking, could you start the APU if both the engines went down? Tom Merchant saying thanks for the membership. Pan Am Toddler, he's going to warn up the incoming deluge. Mrs. Floofage, Keystone 75, Mr. Obvious. If you can't start the APU in flight, give me a parachute. ES did the Boeing tour in 2006 and 747s were on the production line. Wow, that must have been fantastic. What a sight to see. Adam Carl has gifted a membership. Thanks for that, Adam. Admin Kuli Khan. They have to do a lot of tests before delivery. Well, yes, there is literally a checklist in terms of delivery tests for it's much like a car where you have what's called a PDI, a pre-delivery inspection, but it's I think a slightly more because they have flight tests with these aircraft, high altitude tests, just to make sure that all the systems are working properly, and of course they have you know, the cabin checks as well by the representatives who come round and check for snags and scratches or bits of a door lining that might be out of sync or out of place, you know, part of the rubber seal is missing or something like that, you know. So yes. Oh, Joe Spitfire, KC-46 on radar. Might be just being moved, I don't know. And to be honest with you, there's been a number of KC-46s on radar over the last couple of days. Oh, easy, son. Felt that one. Come on, chaps. Let's get something going here. Mirrors says, I've got a few Meccano pieces left from my lad's set. Think I'll donate them to Jerry for his wing stress test model. Blue paint included. What's that, GP? Sorry. Okay, Aidan Campbell. As of February 2023, there are 363 total orders for the 777, 9 passenger and freighter versions from 10 identified customers and other buyers. Aidan, thank you for that. Ty, good afternoon to you, Ty. He's gifted 20 memberships. Thank you, my friend. Very generous thing to do. What a wonderful gesture. You are very kind. Adam Carl has gifted a membership as well. Screaming Emu, Bob Shalvoy, Alan Moss, Steve Madison being gifted a membership. Deshaun Bennett, will Virgin Atlantic order the 777-9? I don't know. I mean, they're obviously a very loyal Boeing customer with their 787. What they are planning to do with with the replacement of their 787s, because let's face it, their 787s are have got some age on them now, haven't they, with Virgin Atlantic? I don't know when the last 787 was delivered with Virgin, but it was quite a few years ago, I know that. So whether there are plans to swap them out with newer 787s, or whether to move to the 777-9, I don't think they're in line for the 777-9 at this stage. I'm not aware of that anyway. Yes, you can. APU is started before landing, James Harvey. APU is started before landing. Is it? That's the first time I've ever heard that, I have to be honest with you. I know that APU is sometimes started after landing and during taxi, but before landing? Okay, well, there we go. Learn something new every day. I think, yes, Sam Simpson, I think they might be bringing the DC-3 back as well. Yeah, that crazy story about the other day that we read about the the 727 and the 707. Brilliant. I think the APU can be started. Didn't Sully start the APU when both engines shut down, VJ Menon saying? I don't know. Did he? Tim Rotunda, isn't the APU electrically started? That's a good point. How is the APU actually started? By electrical systems, I would have thought. The main engines are started with electrical power on the Dreamliners, but most conventional engines are started with the use of air starters, which again, those air starters, they are powered by the auxiliary power unit, before the engines are able to create their own air to get everything moving. So yeah, it's an interesting one, that. So what's that, GP? Oh, okay. So last Boeing 747-8 March 2023. Yes, Maurice, we know that for sure. Aidan Campbell, nothing on radar at PAE yet. Tin Rotunda. I'm designing a device that will allow my big truck with a Duramax to sound like an RB211 on startup. Yeah, I'll have one of those. Cedric Franzen, APU can be started in the air on most aircraft, but unless you have a failure, it's very rarely done, usually on taxi to the gate. Oldest Virgin, okay, Lloyd Bell, oldest Virgin 787 is 9 years old, youngest is 6 years old. Lots of life in them still, indeed there is. Screaming, you can crank a motor by using bleed air from the APU, by using cross-bled air from the opposite side engine or from an air car. Yes, a ground power unit, otherwise known as. Yeah, that is what the APU it primarily does, is it creates air for the starters, for the air starters. But the big question is, again, like I say, when you fire up the APU, it's a switch, isn't it? It's literally a switch. It doesn't have any. It's not started by. So it has to be an electrical system that starts the APU. So Sully didn't have a loss of electrical systems, did he? Well, he would have done because both engines went down, didn't they? But did he have... how would you start the APU if you don't have engines running is my question. Because, yeah, interesting that. FS 777 with electric power, the APU can be started in an emergency by the rat. I see, okay. Without electrical power, I'm guessing he's saying the APU can be started in an emergency by the rat. There we go. Mama Todd is a new member. Oh, well, a returning member. Welcome back, Mama Todd. No APU on Concorde, Mike saying. Absolutely. Admin Kulikan. I see yesterday on 321 from Haiwan to Boeing factory. That's cool. I see yesterday a 321 from Hawaiian at the Boeing factory. Don't know about that. Tom Merchant, no chance of overhead, I'm afraid. There is a cirrus, a base of cirrus cloud, but there's also some there's layers basically. Unfortunately, we don't have any visibility over the top, which is a shame. Aidan Campbell, 90% of the scheduled arrivals and departures of PAE are with Alaskan Airlines. Indeed, they are. All domestic stuff. Can't be, I'd imagine you start the APU up if even a single engine goes out. If both engines are out, would battery power be enough to start it up? Well, if you have enough power in the batteries, then yeah. But it is the yeah, because the ground electrical feed that they hook up to the aircraft is generally what they use to start the APU, isn't it? Or to I think, as far as I'm aware, when the aircraft's on the ground, they have the electrical hookup. Sometimes they'll just have the APU running all the time while they're at stand, which I think is a bit of a shame, really. I think it's Gatwick Airport that are looking to provide direct electrical feed to aircraft that are on the ground or at gate to minimise the footprint as best they can, I guess. Ian Hannah, good afternoon to you. Just finished my evening with Trev Lyon. Fan man, doesn't it make sense for the engines to start the APU after landing on taxi, and then the APU start the engines at push back? Well, it is the APU that starts the engines. The engines are started by use of the APU, the auxiliary power unit, for bleed air that is created by the APU. Welcome back, Mama Todd. Again, most of this aviation talk is going right over my head. Enjoying the enthusiasm. Deborah Davies. James Harvey, just looked it up. They don't start it before landing. I was wrong. I thought I read it somewhere. Well, there we go, James. Thank you for that, my friend. Electrical Screaming Emu. Fun way to remember electrical system priority. On-side, inside, cross-side, outside. The generator on the motor, the generator on the APU, and the generator on the other engine or a cart. Thanks for that, Screaming Emu. Diane, 78 Pan Am Toddler. Cedric Franz, an APU can be started from the batteries. Yes, that is, of course, if the batteries have enough power. Yes, but I don't think that's ever an issue, is it? Because those batteries are those batteries not designated purely for the APU start? I'm guessing. Unless it's, of course, like I say, hooked up to the ground power. Looks like Okay, that's interesting. So, from what I can see there, there's a tripod jack system there that is taking the weight off of that front undercarriage, so as to not flat spot the tyres, I'm guessing, and also to take the weight and the stress off of the couplings and the the connections of the undercarriage, the front undercarriage. I'm guessing, that's interesting, because that's definitely a is that some kind of a tripod? Actually, I don't think it's tripod, is it? It's just a coupling system which is mounted inside the undercarriage bay, but also is taking some stress off the aircraft, perhaps. On screen, meaning the APU starts itself, essentially. It has a little electric turbine started to draw the air in through the inlet door, which we've talked about on a number of occasions and seen many times before. None of these aircraft, of course, that are on the stands here will have that little inlet door. Okay, so it has its own electrical system. That's interesting. The APU. That's interesting. And when we talk about the APU, folks, that's what we're talking about. Those inspection doors are open on that APU at the moment. Every aircraft, well, all commercial aircraft apart from Concorde, of course, do have an APU, and that is what is at the back of these jetliners. Of course, very distinctive on the 777. We're going to get Ken B has gifted 5 memberships. Thanks, Ken. Nick Woodward as well. Of course, we're going to be jumping over to members only after this segment up here on the Sky Terrace, isn't it? It's the Sky Terrace. Sky Terrace. Is that right? Yeah. I think it has got a name. Yeah, I think it is the Sky Terrace. Yeah. Peter Mukunda also confirming that the APU has a dedicated battery. There we go, you see. Great that we learn so much, isn't it? So, theoretically, with both engines failing, the APU could be started up, but the Ram air turbine is also a backup system as well, from what I'm hearing. Wow, Kevin Beasley, train crash aircraft parts, a 1 minute long piece showing 3 fuselage sections in a river. Wow. Yeah, it's a good 3 years old, isn't it? Maybe even longer, I don't know. It seemed quite a long time ago that I saw that. I don't know whether it was, I don't know what the reason was for that, whether it was a failure of the strap systems that they use. Well, I say strap systems that use, as you can see, they're quite well. I think that section at the front end there is fixed to the fuselage, and that framework is then fixed to the train, the body of the train bed itself. So that's quite a significant, whether that's a modification that they implemented as a result of those issues that they had, I don't know, I'm not sure. That's a bulkhead right there, look at that, that's a rear bulkhead for a 737 MAX, I think. As far as I'm aware, anyway. Kenby, let's say Kenby's gifted 5 memberships. Oh, okay, Michael Field, the rail cars derailed. Avro Arrow loved watching the DC-9 depart yesterday. One comment mentioned replacement parts. Wouldn't parts be hard to come by for DC-9s? Well, yeah, Avro. Here in the US, they've got some pretty big boneyards. And as a result of that, they've probably got all the necessary parts. I think the biggest problem would be the engines with those JT8Ds, because they are very, very old. I mean, like flight surfaces and panels, that kind of thing. Structurally, I think there will be spares available. They probably bought up all the spares that are available, but as far as the engines are concerned, they would probably have to, you know, fabricate them by through in workshops, wouldn't they? I mean, obviously back in the day there would have been a massive amount of spares available, so, you know, turbine blades and, you know, high pressure, low pressure, etc., fan blades, cowlings, all that kind of thing. Thank you, H. H has gifted 5 memberships. Very kind of you indeed. Boeing sale already. Any reason to build that many? Costs a lot of money. Admin Kaliakan. Yeah, it's something that I was questioning yesterday in terms of, you know, why they had to build so many 777-9s. Were they perhaps thinking that there would be that certification would be a lot quicker than what it has been, if you know what I mean, or you know, because obviously, you know, we need to realise that this is, even though it's based on an existing platform, the 777-9 is an all new aircraft. It's got a new wing on it. It's got a full composite wing, new engines, the whole aircraft, including the power plant as well. That the whole thing needs to be certified. So yeah, it's that was my question. Was why build so many of them? Apparently they're still putting them together, still assembling them in the sheds, I believe. Should ask that fella actually when he. I don't know if he's probably finished this tour now. 80 minutes it was, wasn't it? Brian Stewart, DC-9 Neo. Chris F saying, I was literally about to chat how wonderful this community is with gifting, and then I get a membership. Oh, wonderful. J Paine Spotter. Is that maybe Plane Spotter J? Is that a typo, or is he in Paine? Oh, okay, so J is in Paine Field. Is this guy going to land, or is he just going to? Okay, so J Paine Spotter, he's back, and well, he's not back. He's been there all the time, hasn't he? He's actually a 3-striper, gifting 5 memberships. You going to land that thing, mate, or are you just going to? That must be quite good fun, actually, eh? Running that. Yeah, don't worry about it. Should we go for another one? That's crazy, isn't it? Yeah, he's got to be going up again, hasn't he? Thank you, Jay. Well, you want to climb now, man, really. You kind of want to climb now, don't you? Otherwise, you're in the trees. Go on in, son. Up you go. Brilliant. here comes that rain. Dun, 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 dun. Fair play. What a great fly past. Very low altitude. So is that the tour bus there then? Is that one of the tour buses there? I think it is. Didn't see anything like that yesterday. It wouldn't be. Wow. How cool is that? Quite up close and personal, isn't it? Richard Dalgleish asking, will we see the Dreamliner? I think he's maybe asking about the Dream Lifter. Comes in 3 or 4 times a month, was what Norm was telling me earlier on. So it is literally a sort of like you're just. I bet you it comes in just after we leave or something like that. But. Somebody saying yesterday that apparently they use the AN124 to deliver engines into here from time to time as well. So, Screaming Emu saying crosswind practice. Yeah, I think Mike, the original designation for the 777 was the 777X. But they've switched that to the 777-9 now, haven't they? Which is why it is on that tail as it is. Tom 81. Welcome back, Tom. Admin Kuliakan. I hope I could go back to Seattle. Beautiful part of the world, man. Chris F., how long does it take to construct a plane like these from the ground up, so to speak? Chris, great question, and one that lots of people regularly ask. When you think that these, first of all, once the order has been, excuse me a second. Is that snow? So, of course, what one needs to appreciate is that, you know, the different components of the aircraft, the empennage, the back end, the vertical stabilizers, the horizontal stabilizers, the flight surfaces, the wings, the undercarriage, the engines, etc. Everything apart from what you're seeing there will be manufactured by a number of different third parties around the world, literally. These particular components are manufactured, I believe, by Spirit Aviation, I think it is. So how long it takes for those particular fuselage sections to be fabricated and built and assembled is one part of the process. It is one of those questions that people ask regularly, isn't it? I remember asking somebody about, at AIRBUS that it could take anything up to like 7 years or something like that to receive an aircraft. I don't know as it's that long, but I mean, you're talking about, I don't know how many I'm hearing myself here. You're talking about, you know, the initial agreement, the letter of intent. Once that's been done, it's only a letter of intent to buy the aircraft. Then once they've actually physically signed on the dotted line, so to speak, then the aircraft goes into to the manufacturing state, along with all the other aircraft as well. Because I think it's all about you know, once you're in that system, you've got to sit there with all the other orders that are in there for other airlines. You know, let's just say Southwest, for example. You know, with the Max, I think Southwest were the first to get involved with the Max program. Obviously, rapidly followed by others like Ryanair, for example. It's a delivery schedule, I think, is the best way to describe it, isn't it? You know, you have to join the queue like everybody else, and of course, then it's down to delays with raw materials, with you know, whatever the delays might be, but every manufacturer, you know, that your aircraft might be sitting there for another 6 months while it waits for its engines, you know, of course. But once the aircraft has hello oh, okay. Once the you know, the order has been confirmed and signed for, then the engine manufacturer will go ahead and build those engines to spec. So you've got the engines as well, you've got the airframe, you've got the wings, you've got all the different components that come from different parts of the world, and you're relying on all those suppliers and manufacturers to all come together. If there's one delay, due to whatever reason it might be, you know, the brakes, for example, you know, there might be a huge backlog of orders for braking systems. You can't operate an aircraft without brakes. You know, you can't deliver it without any brakes. It's, you know, it might look like a small part of the procedure, but it is a huge part in terms of whether you can deliver the aircraft or not. So, you know, there's you know, like when he said 7 years, it sounds a long time, but you know, there's a potential, I guess, for it being that long. Anyway, how long did I waffle on about that one for? Is that Springbok 295? Thanks, Springbok 295. I'm thinking that you're from South Africa. Thanks very much indeed. Has gifted 20 Big Jet TV memberships. Thanks very much indeed. WB Travels. It's like still sun rising hour in Seattle. I'm in Buenos Aires right now, 8,000 miles away from my home in Seattle, watching the sunset. Wow. Well, it's pitch dark in the UK, isn't it? Scott Thompson, Ty, 17th Mustang, Claire Bear, Flying Nanook. Thanks for the sub. Deborah Davies, Super 80 Swiss Air. X is often used for new model design before final certification gives it a proper name. Yeah, I think they've given it the name now of the 777-9, haven't they? So, de-icing rig. Slowly moving down there. Let's see where he ends up. They were de-icing yesterday. I don't think it's cold enough now. Tom 81. Oh, that's very kind of you, Tom. Been watching for a good while now. One of the more quiet ones, been given loads of free memberships, so I thought now I should sign up. Thanks everyone, absolutely love this channel. Thanks Tom 81, that's very kind of you, my friend. And a very warm welcome back. He's a full striper, he's a captain of Big Jet TV, 17th Mustang Springbok 295. Karina Roebuck, take care. Jill Perry, Scott Tarpley, good afternoon to you. Hope everybody's well in the Tarpley household. Emma Wright, Ben Lavender, Gordon Freeman. Some flight surfaces are from a company in UAE. There we go, you see. Spirit Aero Systems. Yes, that's the third part. They call them a third party because Spirit Aero Systems were at one point unique, exclusive suppliers to Boeing. But now they are they're also committed to Airbus as well, on the 350 and the A220, I think, for fuselage components. Quite how much of it I'm not sure, but obviously with the A350, that's the carbon fuselage with the A350, isn't it? Craigie Gerard, Danny Coltrane, airline reporter says 83 days from parts to delivery. Okay, well there you go then, 83 days. I'm guessing that's with everything coming together in one go, isn't it? 83 days, that must mean with everything sitting there waiting and ready to be delivered, assembled, painted. 83 days, blimey. Less than 3 months. That's very cool. Chris 1988, can you see an Oman Air 787-9 anywhere? Our A40SK should be parking anywhere. What Gary is mentioning there about that UPS 767 and the FedEx 767 as well. I think the air freight operators don't actually get the retrofit winglet, the sharklet fitted on the freighters, only because it's more a comfort thing, because the sharklet is developed and designed to increase the not just the efficiency but also the comfort of the flight in terms of being more able to handle disruptive air, turbulence and that kind of thing. So they obviously it costs a lot of money to have those winglets attached, so they just stick with the 767-200 original design with the original wing. Some of the freighters that you see, with DHL and UPS, some of them you will see with the winglet or sharklet attached, but that is most of the time because they are ex-passenger jets that have been converted to freighters. So you'll find that that's partially the reason why you see those as they are. So yeah, I think I'm right in saying that with regards to the winglets. That's why you don't see these freighters with the winglets attached, and that will be a brand new aeroplane as well. Chris 1988 asking if we can see an Oman Air 787-9 anywhere. Haven't seen it. Haven't seen a 787 Oman Air jet on the delivery line. What's he saying there? A40SK should be parking anywhere at PAE. It might be, you know, there's a couple behind as well, folks. I think that's a 777-9 over the other side there. Don't know what that is. That could be a Dreamliner. That might be out of shot. Don't forget that there are stands that are out of shot here, folks. So if you're wondering where that might be, but I'll be honest with you, we did have a drive around the airfield yesterday, and I didn't see an Oman Air jet parked up there. But like I said, you know, a lot of these aircraft orders and deliveries have been delayed for whatever reason they might be. So there's a good chance that the Oman Air jet might be in the paint shop, or it might be in that big shed over there that we're looking at, or over on some other part of the airfield. Here he is again. Oh mate, that's got to be a student pilot, isn't it? He's way off the centre line, or she. Touch and go. Jimmy G also saying 83 days to build a 777. Well, there we go then. Wow. That's insane. 83 days. I mean, I can understand that. Is that 83 days to assemble a 777? I think that might be the time it takes to go through the whole assembly lines that we see in there. Once it's, you know, once that MAX, for example, makes it through into those assembly lines, then maybe it's 83 days or thereabouts from that point. But certainly not 83 days to manufacture that one single component there. Then you've got all the other components that you have to consider. I think it's possibly 83 days from the point of where they literally start it on the front end of the production of the assembly line through to the back end of the production, the assembly, which is when it rolls out of the doors there. I don't think it's 83 days from literally from signing on the dotted line through to actual physical delivery. I don't think so. Martin Smith, could they ever build an aircraft with 3D printing so you have a body with no joins or weak points? Good question, Martin, but you know, you'd have to have a pretty damn big 3D printer, wouldn't you? But of course, one needs to consider these Dreamliners have their three segments. The empennage, it might even be 4 segments that the Dreamliner is made up of, which are then bonded together. It's not just bonding, but also screw fixed, literally, or fixed by sleeves, I guess is the best way. So the components are joined and then fixed and then bonded, and that's where all the certification has to be done, you see. James Wertel, good afternoon to you. Anne Hodkinson, is there a flying club or school there? I guess they do flight training here. Certainly looks like it, that's for sure. Scott Tarpley, enjoying seeing the aircraft in these stages before they're painted up. Yeah, it is a crazy thing to see. I have to say, yesterday when I came here and I looked up there on the top of the airfield there and saw all those 777-9s, I was blown away. And then of course, you know, when you get a little bit more time and you're able to see just how many of these aircraft are parked up around the airfield, it's pretty amazing. Not all 777-9s, got 777-200 freighters over there as well, which are, I believe one of those is going to Atlas Air, possibly. I know that Atlas Air have placed an order for, what was it? Let me just have a look. I saw the announcement yesterday. That's a picture of my breakfast. Today we announced the order of 2 new Boeing 777-200 long-range freighters, which are expected to be delivered in the second half of 2024, and that's direct from Atlas Air. Hazel Sally May has gifted. Where are we going on that one? Have I missed that one? Hold on a minute. Trevin Wood upgraded his membership to first class. Thank you, Trevin. Trevin's going to stay with us when we go to members only in a little while. Michael Field has gifted 10 memberships, but somebody else just gifted some memberships and it went off my screen. Are you able to? Hazel. I think it was Hazel Sally something or other. Come on, get it down. There we go. Oh, easy, easy. I think I got Springbok 295. Yeah, and I tried to scroll up and it was gone. Wood what? Eh? Hazel Sally Wood possibly? I don't know. So there's the folding wingtip, folks, that you've probably read about and possibly seen in pictures. Now you're seeing it live. Of course, the 777-9, quite a few of them dotted around the airfield. I think 21 in total. 767s here, freighters, no passenger 767s. Hazel Sally May it was. Thank you, Hazel. And Daniel Walton has just joined as a member as well. Thank you, Daniel. And Kristen has just gifted 10 memberships as well. That you're seeing there is an AAR, air-to-air refueler, KC-46. That particular one with the United States Air Force. There's quite a few of those dotted around the airfield. That's one of the Boeing demonstrators there, which is quite interesting to see, the eco demonstrator. It's a 777, isn't it? Which is quite interesting. What's the 10 on it? But looks like that's possibly, I like that, what they've done on the engine there with the green leaf. I think that's possibly something to do with sustainable aviation fuel. Oh yeah, nice. Sorry folks, there's no other sound, is there, than a Chinook. Come on, mate, do a nice big fly past for us. Yeah, liking that. So yeah, along here we have all the customer aircraft that, like I say, once they're rolled out of that shed up there, whichever part of it they come from, each one of those doors, folks, is the size of a football field. Get your head around that. So 6 football fields down there. Oh, here we go. Here we go. It's a fueling probe, isn't it? Wow, look at that, man. And he's got the door down at the back. That was crazy, man. What's he gonna do? Climb now. Climb and turn. Oh man, that's gonna be great for the houses down there, isn't it? Yeah. Did you get Trevor's email? Michael Field has gifted 10 memberships. Thank you, Michael. Trevor, we didn't receive your email, my friend. Contact at bigjet.tv. Yeah. Matthew Ewan. We got it. We got the email. Thank you. Unluckily, I'm only flying into Seattle on the 5th of December for a duty trip. Hope to see you during the layover in Singapore. Okay. Well, that's a long way off, isn't it? March 2024. We're going to be at just carrying on with those folks who've just joined us. Literally, you can see everything from the early stages of delivery with these with components, not just those fuselages, but you can also see those big 20-foot containers there. That's the reception department over there, I'm guessing you'd say, where all the aircraft components are checked, and I guess they go through security checks as well, like they do with everything. Then they make their way over and across and into the reception, another reception area there, I think, and then into the production facility and onto the assembly lines, and then they'll spend however long they need to be in there, maybe, like I say, 80 odd days. 3 months maybe, I don't know, so let's just say 3 months from that point. Where that fella was. Oh really? Oh, that's fantastic. Is it any good? No good. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Yes, of course. North Carolina is the main assembly line for the Dreamliner, but they obviously also assemble the Dreamliner here because they've had to assign a number of different assembly facilities for the Dreamliner because it is such a popular aircraft in terms of customer demand. So as a result of that, they've bought part of the production facilities here to Paine Field. So this is the. Now I was wondering yesterday, and I still don't know for sure, whether that bank there that we see there, whether that is a blast wall and they're able to run the engines up whilst they're actually at the remote stands there. I don't know. Is the answer to that. Someone would have to answer that for me. But this morning, around about 3 a.m, I was woken by something running its engines up. I don't know where the engine test area is. I'm sure there's an assigned point somewhere along the line. But I think just looking at those looking at those, they're probably not high enough, I wouldn't have thought, for them to run the engines up there, because that would obviously cause issues with aircraft that were coming in, especially something like that little Cessna that would literally be blown off its hinges. Flying Nanook, lot of pressure for a student pilot to be training in a 172 and being watched by 2,500 people on Big Jet TV. Well, he or she doesn't know, but yeah, more than welcome to the footage if they want it. But that was great, that flying it all the way down at 20 feet. I like that. Pat Murphy, US Air Force, KC-46A Pegasus. Yeah, there's a number of 767 Pegasus jets which are going to be replacing, well, certainly the US Air Force aircraft going to be replacing the KC-135 air-to-air refuelers for obvious reasons. Easier to run, easier to maintain. Although saying that, they're still running. I think either Pratt & Whitney's or the CF6 engines. That looks like a Pratt & Whitney shod aircraft there. But I think this is where potentially Rolls-Royce are going in the future with their re-engining program with the Ultrafan to offer a replacement engine. I'm even hearing that apparently the A350s, they're looking to upgrade the A350 XWB engines up to the Ultrafan, because the Ultrafan will be Rolls-Royce's introduction into the market for carbon bladed fan blade assemblies. So yeah, that's a long way off into the future at the moment, but I'm just interested to see that General Electric and Pratt & Whitney still manufacturing these what I would classify as old engines, you know, but you know, the Air Force, the Air Forces of the world, do they really care about you know, efficiency of the aircraft? They're more concerned about the capability of the aircraft. Again, as you can see, these 767s that are down here, obviously, you know, don't get me wrong, even though they're older design engines, they're still probably got very modern componentry inside them. And let's be honest, most of these large fanned modified engines, like the LEAP engine, for example, is you know, the LEAP is the replacement for the CFM56 engine. The components, the internal part of the engine, the core of the engine is primarily still is made up of the same components, but it is just literally the fan blade assembly, the front fan blade assembly, which is bigger, which is why they have the bigger cowls. Come on, son. There you go. Gordon Freeman KC-46 has the Pratt & Whitney engines. Right, folks, well, listen, thank you so much for your time today. It's been great, really appreciated it, and once again, thanks to Norm for hosting us at this wonderful facility, which you are all more than welcome to come and visit anytime. I think it's just it's Tuesdays and Wednesdays that they're closed. Other than that, is it open at weekends? Is it open at weekends, Norm? It is open at the weekends, and you can come and have a look around this amazing facility. Feel free to walk around, have a look downstairs as well. There's a lot of very interesting stuff there about what Boeing's future plans are in terms of both engine technology, but also materials, and that kind of stuff. I'm going down to the shop now to load myself up with a load of freebies. No, I'm only joking, Norm. So listen, folks, thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed it, and thank you to Boeing as well for allowing us to see this amazing facility. Members, stay right where you are. Don't go too far. I will be back shortly. I've just got to break everything down, get myself out there, and we'll see you back within the hour. So see you in a bit. Thank you very much indeed. Cheers, mate.